So I've been very critical of President Obama, but in spite of my criticisms of him, he did do a few things that were beneficial to a lot of people. One of them is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program that affects children of immigrants, otherwise known as DACA. So this is a policy that I think was great because prior to DACA, the children of immigrants were arbitrarily punished, and I think that that's not right, but undoing this wrong was a step in the right direction. However, Donald Trump is considering reversing DACA. Now, Jonathan Swan of Axios explains that DACA is a program Obama introduced that shields illegal immigrants from deportation and temporarily gives them permits to work and study in the United States so long as they arrived as children. Now, if Trump rescinds the program, it will affect a huge number of people. At least 750,000 people currently have DACA status. Despite promising on the campaign trail to immediately rescind DACA, Trump has wavered since taking office, saying he feels for these children who were brought to the country through no fault of their own. The Trump administration has continued to issue new permits under the program, and with its future unclear, many families are confused and anxious about their futures. So the question is, if President Donald Trump is feeling surprisingly empathetic towards the children of immigrants and doesn't want to arbitrarily punish them, why is he suddenly wavering on this? I mean, if you already went back on your campaign promise when you've been saying that you would undo DACA when you got into office, but you didn't, why now? Why are you wavering now? Well, on June 29th, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton sent a letter co-signed by 10 other attorneys general from conservative states to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, in which they respectfully request that the Secretary of Homeland Security phase out the DACA program, warning that they'll otherwise amend an existing lawsuit to challenge the program in court. So, to all of these attorneys general who signed on to this letter, I mean, they're just heartless. I mean, they are choosing to hold a vendetta against the children of immigrants who did not make the choice to move to the United States, but I mean, this became their home, whether they liked it or not, and they're choosing to punish these people. And it's so mind-boggling to me that they could be so cruel. And with how easy Donald Trump caves to any sort of pressure whatsoever, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he did, in fact, undo DACA after they sent him this letter especially. So the reason why DACA is important, I mean, it can't be overstated, but really I think to understand the importance and necessity of this program, we need to hear from someone that benefits from it. So in an op-ed for Vox, Venezuelan immigrant JuanEscalante writes, "I am a longtime Florida resident, the oldest of 3 brothers, and a 2-time graduate of Florida State University. I am also an undocumented immigrant who considers myself an American in all ways but one, on paper. My family and I came to the United States in 2000, shortly after Hugo Chavez became president of Venezuela. My parents had the foresight to predict the current chaos engulfing the oil-rich nation, which is why they left their family, belongings, and home in exchange for a chance to pursue the American dream. I was 11 years old. My family's hopes of eventually becoming U.S. citizens were dashed in 2006 when we discovered that our immigration attorney mishandled our case. Never mind that my family spent 6 years and thousands of dollars waiting in the infamous line immigrants are often told to get in, a line conjured in the minds of Americans from old images of Ellis Island, but in today's world does not actually exist. Nor did it matter that my parents had started to build a business of their own and paid taxes. It did not matter, and they sent me and my younger brothers to public school in Miami-Dade and Broward County, and that as young children, this country was our home. No, the only thing that mattered to the government was that my family could face deportation due to our lack of a couple of papers. I was 17 years old when our immigration case crumbled. My life changed swiftly. Anxiety quickly set in as part of my daily routine. Everything that I did, whether it was work or academics, always carried the weight of uncertainty that came with being undocumented. I carried big worries on my shoulders day in and out. Was I really going to school for a degree that I might be unable to use in the future due to my lack of status? Would my savings account come with me if I was deported from the United States? Then there were the everyday threats, fear of getting arrested, detained, and deported for doing something as simple as driving without a driver's license. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which was announced by President Obama in 2012, provided nearly 800,000 young people with the opportunity to live free from the fear of deportation. It also gave to them a sense of freedom, providing work permits and driver's licenses for these young immigrants. I remember feeling a sense of relief when my work permit arrived in February 2013. My DACA had just been approved, and all I could think about was the amount of possibilities that would be immediately available to me. I would be able to go to school without fear of deportation, get a paying job with benefits, and feel like my life had purpose once again. No longer was I bound by the fear and anxiety that plagued me for years. Now, even if for 2-year intervals at a time, I would be able to seek out new and better opportunities to improve myself and my community. That freedom that young undocumented immigrants have enjoyed for the past 5 years has yielded significant gains for the United States. Thanks to DACA, young immigrants have been able to pursue higher education, have started their own businesses, while others continue to work and contribute back to their communities. All these young people are aspiring Americans who are working day and night to make use of their temporary deportation protection to give back to, not take from, the country they call home. My parents took a great risk for my future. It's what families do. My family and I do not have a pathway towards citizenship. Not today, tomorrow, or ever. That is why DACA is so important. And look, I'll just say this to Juan, the author of the article. You've been here since you were a child. You pay taxes. You are an American in my eyes. Papers don't matter. We're all human beings. This is our planet collectively, and you're an American. So if that story doesn't resonate with you, then I don't know what will. I mean, for me as a humanist, I can't understand why some individuals don't empathize with the struggle. I mean, his family came here so that way their children could get better opportunities in the United States than in Venezuela. If you are looking out for your family, you don't think about borders, you don't think about the political repercussions, you don't think about how, the government will view you. You just think about improving the life of your children. It's the moral decision. It's a good thing to do, and it's admirable. So, to me, Juan already is an American, but he shouldn't have to worry about being deported when he's been here since he was a child. I mean, nobody should have to worry about being deported. Make them citizens. They've been here. I mean, how many undocumented immigrants do we have? 12 million? Upwards of 12 million? Make them citizens. They've been here. They contribute to the economy. They pay taxes. Make them citizens. But part of the reason why Republicans typically don't like this idea is because, well, if you make immigrants citizens, most of which are Latino, who would be voters for liberal parties like the Green and Democratic Party, well, then they might lose some future elections. So, I mean, this is a political decision as much as it is a moral decision to Republicans. So, Donald Trump, I mean, we at least know that there was a little bit of empathy that he was feeling. So I really hope that these cruel people, like these attorneys generals, don't get in his ear, because what he's doing in not ending DACA immediately is one of the few things that Donald Trump has done to actually help people. And if you do this, then you're just continuing with this trend of cruel domestic policies. And look, you've already shown that you are a bad person because your militarism is costing lives abroad. So do the right thing, at least at home, and keep DACA on the books. It's a step in the right direction towards full immigration reform. And these people have to be protected. They're not hurting us. They're helping us. They're contributing to our country and our economy. They're paying taxes. Let them stay.
In terms of DACA, echoing again on what Tom said earlier, final decision on that front has not been made, and when it is, we will certainly inform everybody in this room.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.